Hi guys, this is Umair back with another video. In this video, I'll be talking about login with Facebook using MERN stack. I created a last video on login with Google using MERN stack, React, Node, Express, and Mongodb. So in this video, I'll be proceeding further with the same boilerplate and template that I used in this login with Google video. Okay. So first of all, what we need to do is just like we created a client ID for the Google for signing to Google, we need to create a client ID for the Facebook. So if you log into your Facebook account and go to the developers.facebook.com, you will see at the top My Apps drop-down will appear. If you click on Create New App, if you are building for the mobile or the web app, you can click on the For Everything Else. Okay. If you click on it, you will be proceeding to this page, the dashboard, and you will be having this app ID. I've already created it, so I'm not going to be creating a new one. Okay, so you can get this thing from here. All right, so let's get back to our VS Code. Let me just bring it a bit closer. Okay, so this is the code structure that I've already created. This is the app.js file on the React side. I'm not going to be proceeding with a lot of React code in this whole series or this video. It's just for checking and testing the Node API functionality if it's getting fine or not. Okay, so this is the app.js file by default. And this is the Google login functionality that I already created in my previous video. Okay, about the structure of this React code, make sure you check out my previous video on login with Google. Okay, so I need to proceed further from here. Okay, so now there is a package for npm for login with Facebook. It's similar to the login with Google. It's a React Facebook login. If you go over here, you can see that these are the weekly downloads of it. And we are going to be taking out from here. Okay, so first of all, let me just install this. Let me just open up and front end my app. I need to install this thing. Okay, so let me just copy the name, React Facebook login, and in my terminal, I'm going to write npm install -- save. And it's going to download it from internet, and it's going to add its reference in the package.json file. Okay, so actually this is for the server side, this is the backend, and this is the front end. Okay, it should be added over here. For login with Google, I use this package, React Google login, and for Facebook, I have used React Facebook login. Okay, so it's downloading. So let it download first. Let me go to that thing and let me just bring it up. Okay, so now let me just close it and I will import it over here. Facebook login, React Facebook login. Okay, and now let me just copy this thing, Facebook login. Let me come below over here and I'm going to add a new div over here, h1 login with Facebook. Okay, and after that I'm going to paste it. Okay, so here what I need is, I don't need this field, I don't need this on click function call. Okay, and I need to add the ID over here. Okay, so I can go and copy this ID, app ID of Facebook that I just created, and I'm going to paste it over here. Okay, so I already explained that what I'm using. I have this RoboMongo running, I have this Mongodb running in the template, and I have this backend thing running. Let me just run it, npm run start. I'm already having my backend configured. Check out my previous videos. If I show you Then I started it with this forget reset password. Then I created email account activation, login, sign up, login with Google, and I created a full-fledged REST API with Node and Express. And check out my previous videos if you want to see that how did I create all the server-side code. Okay, so this is the backend server-side code. You can see controller, database, models, routes. Okay, a lot of stuff. So let me just create the function for it. So let me just copy, come below. I'm using React just for testing my REST API that I'm building. Okay. So here, what I need to do is, let me just close it. Response Facebook. Okay. And I have got this response. And here, let me just log the response what we get. Okay. So let me just run the front end app, npm run start. So it's going to run my React app. All right, so it's running. Let me just wait for it. Okay. All right, so this is what it has created, and let me just go and make it false. Okay, if we keep it true, then this button will be automatically clicked, login with Facebook. Okay, so let me just open up the inspect to see what we get. Okay, so now I think everything is running. My backend server is running, DB connection established, and my front end thing has been configured. Make sure you save all these files. So let me go over here and click on Facebook. It is opening up that window. So for Facebook, we can't have more than one account, so that's why it didn't show that you need to select which account you want Facebook to log in, just like Google. But if you are not logged in with Facebook, then it will show you the form that you need to fill your credentials and log in with Facebook. So currently it didn't show anything, just opening up the window and logged into Facebook straight away. So this is the log. This is the thing that I have got. Okay, it has returned me all these things: name, access token, user ID, and a lot of these stuff. Okay, so from this response, I would need this user ID and access token that I will send to my backend server that I built with Node and Express, and where I will write a logic to store my new user on that database, the Mongodb database. So it should not conflict with the default sign up functionality and default login with Google functionality. It should work as separate entity. So if we have created a user with a Google or simple sign up functionality with using the same email ID that we are using for Facebook, then it will not create a new user. Instead, it's going to use the same user, or it's going to return us the message that the user with the same email ID is already existing in your database. Okay, you don't need to log in with the Facebook. If you want to log in with the Facebook, then you need to use different email ID or different account of Facebook that doesn't exist in the database. Okay, I hope that you have got the idea. So this is something. So inside it, I'm not going to write anything from here. I'll be using this code for calling an API that I yet need to build. Okay, so this is the backend auth routes file. Okay, so these are all the APIs that I've already built in my previous videos. So what I need to do is I need to create a new route. So router.post. So Facebook login. Okay, let me just import it from the controller. I haven't created yet, so it's going to throw an error. I need to copy the name. Make sure you save this routes file and go to the controllers and exports.facebook equals to request response and this thing, and right below this Google login. Okay. All right. So for Google login, we actually used a package called Google Auth library in our backend REST API, Google Auth library. So for Facebook, we don't have anything like this. So what we need to do is we need to call Graph API of Facebook using any kind of API call library of Node. We can use a request module, we can use Node fetch module, or anything like these things. Okay. So what we need to do is in our backend, if I go over here, so this is the package that we'll be using because it has a lot of bunch of weekly downloads. Okay, so we have this thing node fetch, so I'm going to install it in my backend server. Okay, so let me just copy this thing, paste it, and it's going to install this module in our backend server. All right, so it has been installed. Now what we need to do is we need to just bring it over here, go to the controller top, and we are going to paste it over here. Okay, fine. So let me just come down, Facebook login. Now we need to proceed further and write the logic just like we wrote it in the Google. We are going to write pretty much the same logic right from here to here. Okay, but we are not going to use anything like to verify token that we are going to send from the client side or stuff like that. Okay, so let me just go to the front end side of React. Okay, on the React we only have app.js and index.js file, nothing else. All right, I have just added the bootstrap to actually use this thing. Let me just copy this thing to bring the Facebook thing on the center as well. Okay, so on the Facebook side, I'm going to just copy this thing and paste it over here. So for Google login, I have Facebook login. Make sure you spell it right, just like you have added. On the backend side, this is the Facebook login. Just copy and paste it over here. Okay, so over here, what we need to send to the backend, we are not going to send the token ID. We need to send two things. We need to send access token, which we can get from the access token, and then we need to send the user ID, which we can get from the user ID. Okay, and here we can get the response. That's it. Okay, Facebook login success. Let me write client side. Okay, so that's pretty much it we need to do on the front end side. Let me just run it, npm run start, and now we need everything to do on the front end. Okay, so it's going to start. Let me just wait for it. If the UI, the login with Facebook hasn't come on the center, let me just check it. App, so actually class name doesn't come over here. We actually need to add this class on the div. Okay, now it will be centered. So now you can see login with Google. We can click over here. Login with Facebook. We can click on this button. Okay, fine. Okay, so inside my controller, when we will click on that login with Facebook, it's going to trigger this function login with Facebook. It's going to call that API that we are running on the 8000. So let me run the server. Okay, your server is running on 8000. All right. Access token, response to access token, response to user ID. Yeah, awesome. Controller. So now inside it, what we need to do, we actually need to first of all get the user ID and access token from the client side that we are sending. Okay. Now we need to construct the URL. Okay, so URL is something for the graph Facebook API, and for that URL we can pass this user ID and access token, and using that we can get the same data that we received on the front end side that we logged in over here. Okay, so let me just construct the URL. So I'm going to write let URL graph Facebook equals to, just click the button above the tab. Okay, so https graph.facebook.com v2.11/$, and inside it we are going to pass the user ID, and after that we are going to write fields. So we need ID, name, email, and we need to pass the access underscore token equals to $, and access token. Okay, so I hope that there is no mistake. If we have any mistake, we will see. Okay, so after that we need to use the same package that we have just imported, this fetch1. Fetch1, we will pass this URL to return us some kind of response. Okay, let me just verify if it's correctly written. Graph facebook.com v2/user ID /fields equals to ID, name, email, and access token. So it's pretty much looking fine. Okay, so now let me use the fetch, and then we are going to pass URL, and then what method we need to have? We have the get. Okay, and let me just go over here and see the thing. So once we pass the URL, we can pass this method, body, headers. We don't need to pass these things. Then we have to pass two thens. Okay, so here then response.json, then we will get this response over here. Okay, and yeah, all right, so now from here, from this response, we will be having all the data of our Facebook. For using that, we are trying to log into Facebook from the client and app. Okay, so what we need to do is we can get an email and name from the response. Okay, and now we are going to check first if the user with the same email ID already exists in the database. If it is existing, then we are not going to proceed with creating a new user in the database. Okay, so let me just go up, just copy this line from the above function that I wrote in my previous video with login with Google. Okay, so user find one email, and if there is an error, let me just copy this if, paste it. So if there is an error, we're going to return the 400 something went wrong, because this error doesn't show if user existing or not, just a random error that can be generated by any reason. Okay, and then we have the else, and in the else we are going to check if the user existing in the database or not. Okay, so this is the whole thing that we are going to copy from the above function. Okay, so I'm going to paste it over here. Okay, so let me just verify if everything is correct. So first of all, we are generating a token because if user is existing, then we are going to log in user on the client side. We are going to return a token and the user data, so user can we can actually store it into the local storage from the client side and proceed further for login user. Okay, so token JWT sign in expiry, we are using this token. This is the syntax of JWT JSON web token. Make sure you check out my previous video. log in, we are going to get the data from user over here and return the response. This is for if the user is existing in the database and we are actually logged in user with the same email ID. Okay, so and then if the same user with the same email ID does not exist in the database, then we are going to generate a random password. This is just for storing it to the database. Okay, because while logging with Facebook or even the Google, we can't actually get the password for the user. Okay, we should not get the password for the user. This is insecure. Okay, so we need to generate the password in the database because password is required in our model the way we have built over this thing. Okay, this is required true. And then we are going to save the user. Something went wrong, and then we are going to generate another token because after saving, we are going to log in user again because once the user, the way we have configured this application is while we user try to sign up or user try to log in with Google or Facebook, it should automatically be logged in after signing up. Okay, so this is the logic. So we are going to generate another token and then we are going to generate a new user from here. Okay, not the new user, but let me just bring up the data. This data, we can also use the user or data, it's the same thing. Okay, then we are going to log in. Okay, that's fine. I think it should work pretty much as of now. So let me just go over here. This is the database that we are using. Let me refresh. Okay, so the user the email that I'm using for login to my Facebook account, it doesn't exist over here. So we're going to verify from the database if the user is created over here, okay, or not. If it's created, then we are going to return this thing to front end app, and then we are going to log in this response, and we're going to check if we get the response, then it means we are successfully logged in with the Facebook. So let me just run my front end app and make sure you are running your backend. Make sure you save all these files. Okay, our server is running and our front end is running. Now let me open up the inspect console, log in with Facebook. Method FB API can no longer be called from the HTTP pages. Okay, so this is the response that we are getting from here. So it's going to call this API. Let me just go over here and check what's the response. So throw error, unhandled error. Okay, response.json is not a function. Okay, so it is saying that this response, let me just go which line it is referring to. So auth 288. Okay, this response. So where are we getting this response from? Okay, guys, the problem here is that this response should be used for actually returning the data. So we can have a different response over here. So response. Let me just write a complete response over here. So it should not conflict with with this key. Okay. So it should be a separate response. So now this response was overridden with this response that we have got from the API. So let me just save it and make sure your server is running correctly. I hope that there won't be any error now. So let's see if there is any. Let me just refresh it. Log in with Facebook, click on it. Alright guys, we have successfully logged in with Facebook because Facebook login success message you can see in the log, and this is the message that we are receiving from here. Okay, this is the success message. So this is the response. Okay, so either this will be returned or this will be returned. If the new user has been created in the database, then this will be returned. We should have token as well as the user ID. So let me just open it up. Facebook data. Alright guys, we have got this token and we have got this user. This is the user. So let me just open up the database, refresh, click on user. So we have got another user created over here. Okay. So now let me just test the other functionality. If a user is already existing in the database, then we should not come with else. It should not create a new user. Instead, it should simply straight away return us a response. Okay, from here. So let me just click over here, log in with Facebook again. So I've got login with Facebook success. So this is the token and this is the user ID. Let me go to the database, refresh user. So new user has not been created. So our functionality is working fine. Okay. So now I want to explain, I have explained this thing in my previous video, login with Google. So here what you can do is you will definitely have other pages on your client side, like dashboard page after the user can see the profile page after user gets logged in the app. What you can do is you can use your own logic and you can actually store this token and the user data in local storage or maybe the cookie. And if you want to show the dashboard or if you want to show any profile page that require authorization, you can actually check the token in the local storage or in the cookie that you have stored, and then you can proceed further. I am not using it because the main purpose for this video was the REST API, how we can write the REST API for actually login with Google or login with Facebook. Okay, so one thing I want to mention here that if you have liked my videos and you want me to create more videos like this, make sure you hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe my channel. Okay, that really helps. And thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for upcoming videos.